Hey folks, Ariel over here. Today what I'm doing is building a little chicken tractor or coop. So by day 3 of their little lives, the chicks started going outside. First in what I think of as the chick playpen. This is a little wire dog crate that I had from Grizzly before Burley was around, and it's not one he's ever used. So I figured it would make a perfect chick playpen. Wrapped it with some bird netting because they were still little enough to fit through the holes in the dog crate. And then the gathered bag you see on the end was actually somebody else's discarded custom patio furniture cover from a chair or something. Anyway, it happened to fit just about perfectly around the back end of the dog crate, which made it a nice little sun and wind shade for that. So by day 3, they got to go outside during the day and peck around and enjoy the sunshine or the shade, whatever their mood was, and so on. They seemed to really enjoy that, and then every night they were back inside. At this point, the nights were still getting fairly cold, so they were, back in the house with their fake chicken mama, and a lot of the nights I was lighting the wood stove to keep the house plenty cozy for them, along with their boiled hot water bottles. But that was their first forays into the outdoors. But I knew that wasn't going to hold them for long as they started growing, so I got busy with the plans for the next stage of their life. This design, I probably have never had an idea totally original to me in my entire life, has been inspired by many things I've seen over the years that other people have done to keep chickens in. Now this is my second one. I built one a couple nights ago. The little chicks are off behind the camera, have been scratching around in it for a few days. Seemed to work out really well. I wanted to do a trial run, be sure I was happy with the design. Since I am so far, now I'm going to show you guys building another one, because with all those little birds, there's plenty of space in there for them all now, but as they grow, I knew that they were rapidly going to, need more space, so I was always planning to build a second one. So I want to show you how I did that. But my ideas were inspired by Doug and Stacy's, I think still have the most popular chicken coop build video on the internet. Definitely a lot of their design, and I think other people have done similar things. But anyway, I made a few adaptations to work with what I wanted and what I had, because what you'll probably notice is that Clay and I have been doing a lot of reusing discarded materials. With his lifetime of building experience, he's had opportunities to collect discards from a lot of job sites, and I even, amazingly enough, like when I was working as a waitress, I would serve a lot of guys who were on construction crews, and sometimes they would just randomly say, hey, we have this pile of wood and we have to take it to the dump if nobody wants it. Do you know anyone who wants it? And I'd just say, I'll take it, because I always knew that I was hopefully within a few years going to be doing something along these lines. So this is going to be built with reused scrap wood and a cattle panel and a few other things. So I want to show you how it goes. Oh, and I was a little bit impressed with myself because I built that first one all by myself, and building is way more Clay's department. He probably would have made it prettier, but I've been thinking about what I wanted to do for years, and I had very clearly in my head what I wanted, so I built it, and he didn't even see it till I was all done, and he even said it didn't look too bad. So I was a little bit impressed with myself that I got that all done, and hopefully this one will look as good or even better. So now you can probably see the basic shape of how this is going to work. If you're hearing noise other than the birds behind me, that's the creek. Anyway, this was one 16-foot regular cattle panel that I split in half. These, the bottom edge of the cattle panel has a couple rungs that are closer, so just for stability, I turned it so that the closer rungs were on the two outside ends, because I've already got a pretty good overlap for strength there in the middle. These were all scrap 2x4s, but the basic dimensions are, this is 8 foot by 4 foot, so if you needed to buy some, that would be 3 8-foot 2x4s would make this frame. And now I have to cover it with something, because obviously a bird could go through this. This is just my frame, so I need to cover it and make a shade on one end for both shade from the sun and shelter from wind, and then make a closed end and a door end And that, like I said, seems to be working out so far on the one I already made. And I have to anchor these down and all that stuff, so that'll take me a minute. But the main purpose for I wanted to stop and tell you is that my goal is I wanted something that the chickens could scratch in the grass and eat bugs and stuff freely, and that I could move. So people make a lot bigger, fancier ones than this. Some great pasture poultry operations use them, often big enough you need either a four-wheeler, a pickup, or a tractor to move them from place to place. And if that's what you're doing all day, great. I wanted to have it be something that I knew I could move by myself by hand. So I didn't want to go too huge, which is back to why I'm making at least 2 of them. So the first one I did, I put a handle on the one end so I can grab it and just pull it to the next spot so that the chicks have fresh grass and bugs to access every day. And it's working out well. They seem to really like it. So now I'm going to go on and finish the rest of it. Tell you guys right now that anything unorthodox about my construction technique here is not the fault of anybody I got ideas from or clay. This is only the second time in my life I've actually built something, the other one being my little wood shed I built at the old place with some pallets and a tarp. I cannot claim it was beautiful, but it was functional. It cost me almost nothing, and I used it for many years. But like I said, I did have a pretty good idea of what I wanted this to work like, and so I knew what I was going for, and I like to show that you can do things with what you've got, and you don't have to be a professional builder with decades of experience. You could just be a woman who's never built anything before in your life, and you could probably still put together your own chicken coop like this. Chicken tractor, whatever you prefer to call it. So I just wanted to throw that out as an encouragement to anyone who thinks, well, I don't have those skills, I don't have a husband, whatever. A lot of the stuff you can still do what you got, where you're at, and it may not be lovely, but it will function. So, anyway, as you can see here, I've got, this end is going to be the closed end that's going to get a tarp over it for shade from rain, wind, snow, sun, all that stuff. And the other end is going to have the swinging door to get open and closed into here. So, I'm going to tack this down as well. Finish wiring this. And you get the general idea. Really gave up on me being boring. He's napping right over there, since I wasn't doing anything interesting in his opinion. So as you can probably tell, it's the next day. I ran out of daylight last night. It just got pitch dark on me. Went in about 10 o'clock. And then this morning I had a whole bunch of other things I needed to do first. So now I'm hot and sweaty and dirty, and I'm going to try to finish. As you can see here, they seem to be pretty happy with the setup. They like running around and pecking in the grass. They have a lot more space than the little dog crate playpen version. And, you know, they're so tiny still when I first put them in here that when you get eye level with the grass, it was like their own little personal forest because they could almost completely disappear in it. But they seem to really enjoy it. And so here's just some clips as they grow a little bit over the next few days because they're fun to watch. I was also able to teach them to all come to me when I call, "Here, chicks," because that seemed like that might come in handy someday. So by rewarding them with mealworms as a treat, they'll show up the second I call now. And then this is how I actually move the chicken tractor. I have to open the door and grab the water because it's too heavy to hang from the frame. Get Briley to stay out of the way. And then just grab that handle and I start moving just really slow so all the chicks have time to get away from the back end and they kind of get the idea. And I move it till it's in a totally new spot for the day so they have fresh bugs to eat and grass to peck at. Drop the water back in and they're all good to go again for a day. And it just is worked out pretty handy and well. So that's how we move the chicken tractor. Here's one look, barely, lay down, good boy, at how well feathered out they are already. They're 3 weeks old today and still have a little baby fluff if I can show you without her flying off on me. But look at, look at all the mature feathers and pretty colors she's got. That's just one example. The rest are all different colors. But anyway, she's not impressed with being away from her friends. So she's going to go back in there. But that's how we move the chicken tractor every day. And we're going to put her back. She's even getting a little comb there on that started on her head. Yes, you're noisy. We'll go put you back. And then the one remaining step I have to do right now, because some of them are still pretty small and our ground is rather lumpy. I mean, it's not a mountainside, but it is not perfectly smooth either. So depending exactly how the lumps and bumps sit when I move the chicken tractor, I'll have a corner or something where there's a little bit of a gap. So I've just been taking a little scoop of wood chips and using that to fill in that gap and tamp it down tight, and then that just gets to decompose into the soil then when I move it the next day. So that's worked out well, and they have been able to squeeze out, and in another week or two they should be big enough that just isn't an issue. They'll be too big to fit through any of those little cracks anyway, but that's what I've done for now. Though for the first couple days I actually had to set it on the ground because they were too short to reach it. It's set up so that feeder can hang, so it just moves nicely along when the chicken tractor moves. Because it's not nearly as heavy as the water, I was able to do that, and it just makes it very handy. And all day long, they like pecking at the ground, and the grasses, and back and forth. and in and out. And the other one you can see in the background has the ducklings in it. Over here at Fineth, thank you so much for watching these videos and spending some of your very valuable time choosing to do that. We hope you found something that was useful, educational, helpful, maybe save someone else some time and trouble, or just something just plain beautiful. If you don't want to miss any videos, subscribe and hit the bell. And thanks for coming along on our journey as we build a new little homestead with our tiny house and everything to come.